What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 80, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is my Week 5 stardom, sit-em, wide receivers, every single matchup except for the 4 teams that are on a bye. So obviously keep the Lions, keep the Chargers, keep the Eagles, and keep the Titans out of your lineups. They are on byes this week, guys. And before we dive into it, guys, I'm looking at my YouTube numbers here. I'm looking at 75.6% watch time here and only 24% subscribed. Help me out. Hit that like button, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on so you know when I'm live. All the support's greatly appreciated. I put a ton of work into this to help you guys win your matchups weekly, and I would love all the support back, man. It helps me out a ton, more than you guys can imagine. And let's dive into it here, guys. So if you guys are new to the channel here, this is my wide receiver board for stardom sit-em here. The top black box is always the away team. The bottom team is always the home team. And before we dive into Thursday Night Football here with the Bucs and the Falcons, I got to throw a shout out to my guy, Big Draft Energy. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure you check out his Twitter. He does tons of background work to send me information that helps me with my videos, my rankings, and everything. And if you guys like pick'ems and you like daily lineups, this is also great information for you to screenshot. So in this next minute and a half here, make sure you're paying attention. Clip the screen, whatever you want. Save these stats, or you could always follow his Twitter and see this information as well. Now, this is the wide receiver most advantageous for TDs this week. These are defenses that give up the most. So at the top, you have Amari Cooper and Jaden Reed. That's why they're absolute smash plays to me this week. And then you can pull up here. We're looking at the wide receivers advantageous matchups for the most receptions. So the defense that give you the most receptions per wide receiver. If you look at Garrett Wilson at the top, why do you think I'm so high on Garrett Wilson this week? He finally is out of his turmoil matchup, but we'll get to that. And then this right here, again, Big Draft Energy, another tweet here. This is the most advantageous week 5 matchup for receiving yards. And look who's at the top, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman. Again, the matchups are great for both those guys. We'll get to why I like them so much this week, but make sure you check out my guy, Big Draft Energy. He's part of my team. He's always on the stream with me. I'm always on his stream, on his YouTube. I will drop his YouTube at the end, guys. Make sure you check it out. I know when I say these things, it's like people just look over it. There's a ton of work that goes into this, and this guy is part of a major part of my growth and everything for fantasy football. So make sure you go support my guy. Now, heading into the Falcons Bucs game here, Thursday Night Football. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, not going to be a start for me. Chris Godwin, man, I have him above Mike Evans because I said he'd outperform Mike Evans this year in fantasy points, and we're well on our way to that already. Out of the slot, he's absolutely destroying. They get the Atlanta Falcons defense. The Falcons defense, though, man, they're good. So I almost like put them in yellow, but they're too good. I can't. They have, Simmons and Bates, the two best safeties, AJ Terrell, a lockdown corner out there, Judon, and linebacker. The additions they made in the offseason made this defense a lot better. And when I look at the numbers here, so if I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons defense here, the numbers are going to seem skewed because they played 4 playoff opponents to start the season. And they're still 18th versus the wide receiver position, allowing 32.8. In the red zone, though, they're 29th. This is where Mike Evans has a chance to feast with his big body. They give up 9.2 points, and they allow 142 yards to the wide receiver position on the season. And I'm definitely starting both these guys if I own them either way. Heading to the Falcons side here, Drake London, Mooney, Ray McLeod. Dude, the matchup here is beautiful. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is a weak spot for them. They rank 10th versus the pass, 27.3 points per game. They're 12th in the red zone, 4.5. They give up 122 yards. I have Drake London as a smash play this week. Darnell Mooney also, if you have a part of these crazy injuries that are happening in fantasy football right now, I'm okay with flexing Darnell Mooney. He's been more involved in the game. Ray McLeod has even seen a lot of targets here lately, so he's spreading it around a ton here. And in this game, I'm playing the studs here. I'm playing Drake London, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin as starts in this game, Thursday Night Football. The New York Giants and Danny Dimes are headed into the 12th man, Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks are for real this year, man. I thought they were frauds after their first 3 games, but we'll get to that here in a second. Dude, Malik Neighbors, I'm done doubting the guy. He's wide receiver 1 right now on the season. Absolutely bonkers for a rookie to be pulling this off through 4 weeks of the season. Concussion, though, didn't practice today, so pay attention to the injury updates there for sure. And when I'm looking at Wan'Dale Robinson is a flexible wide receiver from here on out for the rest of the season. I mean, he saw 14 targets last week, guys. 14. 18 fantasy points, 13 points before that, 9 points before that, 11 points before that, averaging about 9 to 10 targets a game on the season through 4 games. That's a floor that you would like to have no matter what. He's only found the end zone once. You get the Seattle Seahawks defense now, like I said, it was kind of fraudulent. So when I'm looking at this ranking, right, they're ranked 8th versus the pass, 25.9. They're ranked 16th in the red zone, 5.1, giving up 105.8 yards. But then you saw them play the Detroit Lions and get shredded. A real good team, right? The first 3 weeks, Seattle played Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and Skylar Thompson. So those passing numbers are very skewed because they played against really no offenses and no quarterback talent at the time. So I don't think their pass defense is as good as the numbers show. That's why I'm breaking it down like that for you guys. Now, heading to the Seattle Seahawks side, to DK Metcalf looks like just an alien, man. A man from a different planet. Absolute smash start every week for him. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is coming up here a little bit, guys. Tyler Lockett, I have in red. He could be I could put him yellow. He could be an okay play here. But with Jay Season seeing 12 targets last week and then 16 targets in week 2, he's coming in as the number 2, taking the job. They get the New York Giants this week. Excuse me. The New York Giants are 16th versus the pass, allowing 32.4 points to the wide receiver. They're 17th in the red zone, averaging 5.2 points to the wide receiver and giving up 124 yards to the wide receiver position weekly. Now, in this game here at the 12th man, I just don't hope I want it to stay close. If it gets out of hand here and say the Seahawks run them out the building, it could be more of a K9 Charbonnet show. So you're kind of hoping DK and Jay Smith, or Jay Season, I call him Jay Season instead of Jackson Smith-Njigba, it's a long name. They could see less volume because the game gets ugly. I'm hoping the Giants can stay in this game. But if the Giants don't stay in this game, it's more volume for Neighbors and Wan'Dale. So I actually could put Wan'Dale in green. I like him as a flex play this week. I really do. And I like DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba a ton this week as well. The Dallas Cowboys are headed in to face the Steel Curtain, guys. And the running game here is going to be non-existent for the Cowboys. It is a tough matchup, man. They have the number 1 shadowing corner as well in Porter for the Steelers. It's still CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to put CD as a starter no matter what, but I think it's going to be like a tempered expectation game from him. Brandon Cooks has got a knee infection now, so he's going to be out. So Jalen Tolbert becomes an instantly, weirdly, oddly flex play, especially with Porter as the number 1 looking at CeeDee Lamb. It could be a decent flex play if you have injuries or you're just looking at a deeper league dart throw here. I'm not opposed to it here, but you get the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They rank 9th versus the pass, allowing 27.2 points to the wide receiver. They rank 8th in the red zone. So the top 10 in both categories here. And they only allow 142.5 yards to the wide receiver position. So even though it's CeeDee Lamb, you're not sitting him. I would say temper expectations here, especially traveling to Pittsburgh in this game. Now, Steelers side, George Pickens, the show is here. Justin Fields is finding him on the season now. The connection is growing more and more. If you haven't seen it, so he got his first game with over 10 targets. He had his first game over 100 yards. Yes, it was a plus matchup. But you get the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys defense is middle of the pack here, ranks 15th, 31.9 points allowed to the wide receiver position. They rank 20th in the red zone. So they're about top 20 in both categories, I would say. And they give up 144 yards. And Pickens looks like a man on a mission, dude. It's unbelievable to watch this guy play, why he's drafted so low. I get that he's had a brutal start to the season with 3 tough matchups with Atlanta, Denver, Chargers. But from here on out, it gets glorious for him besides the New York Jets. So you can go all the way to like week 12. He has only 2 bad matchups. So George Pickens is someone I am trying to buy everywhere. I'm starting him everywhere. He looks electric on the field, and you should be starting him as well. The stinker game is here, man. The Dolphins versus the Patriots, and this one just pains me. I said last week I was willing to take one last ride with Tyreek to see if it looks better with Tyler Huntley, and dude, it's just so bad. I feel so bad for Tyreek, Jalen Waddle owners right now. You can't start these guys now. I know that maybe Huntley missed Tyreek on a bomb. That would have helped, but you're going to get Chris Gonzalez probably in this game too here. Could free up Waddle. These quarterback plays on both sides, like if I was willing to take a shot on anybody here, it'd be Jalen Polk possibly. Don't love it at all. I'm just putting one guy in there yellow, so it's not a sea of 6 red. Jacoby Brissett versus, Tyler Huntley is a game that not even most people are going to watch. But I got to give the defensive stats because that's what I do here. So Patriots defensive side for the Miami Dolphins against the pass. Hang on, I got caught in my throat. The New England Patriots are currently against the pass right now on the season, are ranked. This is like a plus matchup too. So if the Dolphins like had Tua, this would be a smash. The Patriots ranked 27th versus the pass, giving up 36.8. They do get stymied in the red zone. They get a little better. They rank 14th, and they give up 176 yards per game. And I would look at this game like both teams aren't going to be moving the ball. Maybe Tyreek could be a play, but God, it's just the quarterback play, man. And then heading over to the Miami Dolphins side on defense, they're very good. They rank top 5 versus the pass, 23.6 points given up. They rank top 5 in the red zone, so top 5 in both categories. And they only give up 118 yards to the wide receiver position. So nothing great to even watch in this game. This is an absolute stinker of a game with these quarterbacks that are playing. And, man, it just sucks. Tyreek Hill, I hope the trade rumors or something happen and he gets out, man. The game I will be at this Sunday, the Arizona Cardinals are headed in to take on my 49ers. And we're going to stomp them out the building. But still, Marvin Harrison Jr. is still going to be a start for me. I even had Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch as possible starts last week versus the very, very bad Commanders defense. And the Cardinals just laid an egg, man. They got blown out the building 42-14. I don't know if it's a sign of things to come because Trey McBride wasn't out there or was he that important to the offense, but it looked really, really ugly. And now you get the 49ers defense, which ranks 14th versus the wide receiver position, giving up 31.2. We rank 6th in the red zone at 6.8 and only allow 144 yards. And you're going to have Tre'Davious Ward on Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, one of the top corners in the league, but still it's Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm starting him, but I can't say Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson anymore after last week where they had a smash play and did absolutely nothing with it. Heading to the 49ers side, Debo, fresh off the injury, was back. Brandon Ayuk is still waiting to pop. He's like that guy right now in fantasy that you own that you're like, do I just trade this guy? Do I sit him? And then the minute you sit him, he's going to pop off. And there's no better opportunity than the Arizona Cardinals defense. They rank 20th versus the pass, giving up 34 points a game to the wide receiver position. They also rank 27th in the red zone, giving up 9 points per game to the position. So there's a big opportunity here for a touchdown for Ayuk or Debo in the red zone. And then they give up 151 yards to the wide receiver position a game. Absolute smash game here. Purdy should absolutely light the Cardinals up. I cannot wait to be at this game and talking shit to Kyler Murray on the sideline. It's going to be super tight. But, man, I'm starting Marvin Harrison, Debo, and Brandon Ayuk here in this game and no one else. And on the 49ers side, Ricky Pearsall may be practicing this week. So if you're still holding on to that Juwan Jennings hope, time to let it go, man. The second grunge game of the week, division rival matchup. Las Vegas Raiders are headed into the Denver Broncos, and it looks like you're not going to have Devontae Adams, who's requested a trade. Looks like he's not going to be out there. Looks like he's done in the Raiders, period, right now, which is absolutely crazy. And then you get Jacoby Myers, who could be the wide receiver one with him gone, and Trey Tucker, but you're going up against the Denver Broncos defense, guys. This is their absolute strength. They are the best in the league. I know that it says they rank 3rd here against the pass, giving up 21.8. They rank 7th in the red zone, giving up 2.4. They only give up 105 yards to the position on the season, and they're at Mile High Stadium. This is going to be an absolute nightmare game for Gardner Minshew. I think it's going to be like a ground and pound game where they just run it out. It's really ugly, low scoring, like 14-10, 14-13, something like that. And then you go to the Broncos side, and Cortland Sutton, I'm not even starting him. Looks like he could be in a good matchup here against the Raiders, but, dude, I've seen enough of Bo Nix in this offense, and their defense has given them so many opportunities, and this offense still does nothing. I'm not starting any of these guys in the game. If you need to throw a flex miracle play in there, I'm okay with Cortland Sutton. And then if you play, best ball or not best ball, dailies or something, I like Trey Tucker for a bomb, but definitely not to start and, feel comfortable about at all in this game. This is a sea of red. I'm staying away from it completely. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson finally get their first good matchup of the year. Heading in to face the Minnesota Vikings, undefeated 4-0, blows my mind with Sam Darnold Vikings. I mean, absolutely crazy to me. But why am I so high on Garrett Wilson? Well, if you saw the video at the beginning, if you saw the shout out to my guy Big Draft Energy, if you saw the upside against the Minnesota Vikings defense, this is the game. Absolutely 100% the best matchup Garrett Wilson has faced. He played the 49ers week 1 and Tre'Davious Ward. He played the Tennessee Titans and Snead week 2. He played the New England Patriots and Christian Gonzalez week 3. And then he played the number 1 lockdown corner in Patrick Surtain week 4. He's had a gauntlet. Now you get the Minnesota Vikings defense, guys, and here we go. This is why Allen Lazard is an okay flex play for me as well here also, guys. So when you're looking at the Minnesota Vikings defense, this is what they give you. Okay. They're ranked 29th, 44.2 points per game to the wide receiver position. They rank 24th in the red zone, giving up 8.4 points per game and 221 pass yards allowed to the wide receiver position. This is your smash game right here. Now, Allen Lazard has had a floor, the game one blow up of 26 points, but he still had a floor of 13 and 10 points here the last 2 weeks. And you get a matchup like this, I'm okay with flexing Allen Lazard. I don't have him as a smash start, but if you need a plug and play, he can be nice this week. Mike Williams still not seeing enough snaps yet for me. He's kind of a boomer bust, and I don't like that in fantasy football, so I'm staying away there. Now, when I head to the Vikings side, this is a tough matchup here for the Vikings. You get the New York Jets defense. You get the two best corners in Sauce and Reed on each side. Justin Jefferson, I'm obviously starting because I think he's matchup proof no matter what. But, man, look at this Jets defense, guys. Ranks 7th, 25.6 points given up to the wide receiver position. Ranks 10th in the red zone, so top 10 in both categories. 3.7 points allowed there. And only 100 yards a game to all the wide receivers per game. So, man, I know everything looks good on paper for the Vikings to ball out. Jordan Addison even popped off last week. I am not starting him. I am starting Justin Jefferson. That's it from this game. I'm very, very worried. Also, I'm tempering expectations on Jettas too. This defense is absolutely lights out, especially versus the pass. I'm still going to keep Jettas as a start, but it's going to be tough. And Garrett Wilson is one of my absolute smash plays this week. The big game of the week is here, man. The Bills headed into Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the unbelievable amount of weapons he has. And Tank Dell looks to be back. He practiced today. Khalil Shakir banged up. Looks like he's going to go as well here for the Bills. And in this game, it's going to be like, I'm going to put it all out here to start with. So Khalil Shakir has been the guy in Buffalo, looks like the wide receiver one, right? I know that Keon Coleman was late a couple weeks ago and missed half the game, and Shakir even popped off even more for that. But it's a weird matchup here to judge in this one because I think it's going to be a shootout. But when I'm looking at the defense, right, and I pull up the Houston Texans here, the Houston Texans are actually like a team that you can see as maybe they can beat them, maybe they can't. They're ranked 22nd versus the pass, give up 35.9 points per game. They get ranked 23rd in the red zone, ranking 8th, 152 yards allowed to the wide receiver position. But I just don't know who's going to pop every single game here with the Bills. It looks like Khalil Shakir is taking the job, but then he gets a little nagging injury. We don't know. Keon Coleman, I'm okay with the flex play with him as well here, just again because I think it's a shootout game coming. And then when I head to the Texans side and you look at the Buffalo Bills, they rank 2nd against the wide receiver. So this is a green here for the Houston Texans. Of all these guys are flexible. I don't like them as any smash starts this week. I want to get that out of the way now. I know that Nico Collins is wide receiver 2 and Stephon Diggs is wide receiver 9 and Tank Dell's been hurt. But listen to the Buffalo Bills here, guys. They only give up 20.4 points per game to the wide receiver position. They rank 9th in the red zone as well, so top 10 in both categories. And they give up 105 yards to the position. But have they played the full trio of the Texans? No. And Joe Mixon looks like he's going to be back out there as well to go along with Dalton Schultz. And you're going to have to score points in this game. That's why I'm okay flexing any of these wide receivers, or if you have them as a wide receiver 1 or 2, that's fine as well with Diggs and Collins. But I don't love it this week. The Bills' defense has been very good versus the wide receiver. That's why I'm saying they're green flexible for me for all of them and not smash starts because the Bills have been absolutely astronomical against the wide receiver this year. But there's that thing in my head where I think it's going to be a shootout game too. So I'm saying they're all good to go. You can start all of them in a flex spot or better. And Khalil Shakir would be the guy that I would pick, but you got to pay attention to injury updates on him as well. And of course, if he's a no-go, then Keon Coleman would be a start for me also. The game of absolutely no defenses is here. The Indianapolis Colts head into the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jags need a win bad at 0-4, man. Now, this game is like the perfect smash for both the wide receivers you have in this game. So when I'm looking at Michael Pittman, yes, was it because Joe Flacco came in? Anthony Richardson practiced today still. I love the matchup here way too much. Even if Anthony Richardson's out there and struggling with his accuracy, I still think these guys are going to absolutely pop, and here's why. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense, guys, ranks 28th versus the pass, allowing 42.3 points per game to the wide receiver. They're allowing 15th in the red zone, giving it 5 points there as well, and 200 yards to the wide receiver position on the season per game. And Josh Downs looked back. I know it was Flacco, though, so I'm, temper your expectations on Josh Downs. But still, 22 points on his first game back, 62% snap share. Adonai Mitchell has fallen out of the rotation. He's down to 32% snaps, and he's back to being Josh Downs, getting that 9-target look. I mean, absolute easy flex play, possible wide receiver 2 play, just because the matchup is so great against the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary. Now, heading to the Jag side, it's the same thing. BTJ, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, you can drop to the waiver wire. I said that all year long. Don't draft the guys. It's just a waste of a roster spot. You're finding out why. Now, the Indianapolis Colts, guys, are just as bad. 25th versus the pass, 36.2 points per game. 30th in the red zone, giving up 10.1 of the wide receiver and 163 yards to the position. This is the game where everyone should go off and be kind of a high-scoring, ugly defensive game. That is what I'm hoping for here. And if Joe Flacco's out there, I like Michael Pittman and Josh Downs even more. But even if Anthony Richardson goes, which looks like he's practiced, I still like them as well, just because Josh Downs is such a creator in the middle of the field, man. It's absolutely nuts to watch him play. And BTJ, man, I hope you bought low on him, because, man, it is looking nice. It says Brain on there. Hang on, let me fix this real quick while we're at it. Didn't know it said Brain Thomas. There we go, Brian Thomas Jr. And I like all these guys in this game. The big division rival game is here. The Ravens are headed into the 1-3 Bengals that cannot afford to go 1-4 here. And this game is going to look weird on paper here. So, and it didn't make sense to me last week either. So I'm going to explain this in a different way here. Zay Flowers and all the Ravens wide receivers, since going 0-2, where they were throwing 30-plus pass attempts a game, now they've thrown under 20 pass attempts a game and won 2 straight games, just pounding Henry and Lamar Jackson. I am not starting any of these Ravens wide receiver, even if the Bengals defense was the worst versus the pass. But the Bengals currently rank 13th versus the pass, giving up 31.2 points per game. They rank 11th in the red zone, so top 15 in both. And they give up 163.5 yards to game for the wide receiver position. Now, Bengals side, this is why I wanted to talk about it differently. Last week was that, Ravens are the 30th versus the pass. Josh Allen and the powerful offense is coming in, and all of a sudden the Bills just laid an egg. I think it's an aberration game. I'm not going to buy that all of a sudden the Ravens defense goes from 32, and now they're currently ranked 24th, giving up 36.1 points per game, 18th in the red zone, still 163 yards to the wide receiver position. And it's just an aberration game. You're going to need to pass in this game. The Ravens hold the run to 42 yards a game for running backs. There is going to be no way Zach Moss or Chase Brown are in any of my lineups this week, and they're going to have to pass heavy. Jamar Chase is my wide receiver 1 this week. T. Higgins I like as a smash start, and Yoshi, possible desperation flex play if you need. Andre Losavas as well. And the Ravens, I got to see it twice to believe it. I mean, they just stuffed a Bills offense. It was absolutely crazy. Now, I don't think it's going to happen twice, because they started off the season giving up 300 yards a game passing. So it's got to be here for the Bengals. This is a must-win game here. I like the Bengals to win this game, and I like Jamar Chase to be wide receiver 1 and go off again, and T. Higgins is a smash start, and Zay Flowers to the bench as long as it's King Henry. The Red Rifle and Andy Dalton are headed into Soldier Field, guys, and this one's going to be a little different breakdown for me here. So on the Panthers side, I mean, Deontay Johnson has been going absolutely bonkers the past 2 games, but it's going to be a no-no here in this game versus Jalen Johnson. I do not like it at all. He's one of the top corners in the league, and the only guy that scored over 10 points on him on the season is Nico Collins. So I'm going to put Xavier Legette as a possible flex play, because he won't be drawing the superstar corner in this game. And you saw what he did last game, over 10 targets, looked amazing. Andy Dalton has opened up this offense, but I still don't love it here in any way. The Chicago Bears defense ranks 6th versus the wide receiver position, giving up 25.4 points per game. They rank 2nd. They haven't given up any red zone touchdown or points at all. So they're tied with, who else is number 1 here on the list? Trying to find it real quick. They're tied with the Saints, who have -1 in the red zone. So nothing's happened at all for the Bears in the red zone. And Deontay Johnson's not a big body wide receiver red zone guy, even though he got a little fade route, last week for a touchdown. The Chicago Bears also only allow 130 yards to the wide receiver position. It's just one of those rough games this week. The Bears defense is nasty, and I don't like any of the plays there this week for them. Heading to the Bears side now, the matchup is golden. This is like pot of gold is the Carolina Panthers defense. I know that Keenan Allen was coming off the foot injury last week, looked kind of slow to come out, only played 65% of the snaps here. But when you get this defense of the Carolina Panthers, you get the 21st ranked defense versus the wide receiver, giving up 34.2 points, 22nd at 8 points in the red zone, and they give up 140 yards a game to the wide receiver position. this should be a game. Shane Waldron just needs to open this offense up. It just looks weird. It's like stifled, and the defense is going to give them all the opportunities in the world to figure it out. That's like the worst part to it here. But I like Caleb Williams in this game. I like DeAndre Swift in this game. I like every Bear in this game because the Carolina Panthers defense can't stop the pass, can't stop the run. Their superstar defender is injured. Everything is going wrong for them defensively. But, I mean, Andy Dalton's playing lights out on the offensive side. But still, I don't like Deontay Johnson versus Jalen Johnson this week versus the Bears' very nasty defense. And I like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen a lot this week. The Cleveland Browns are headed in to face the Washington Commanders this week. And here is your fantasy football pot of gold. Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy I'm going to put as a start here. And Jerry Jeudy needs to start being looked at as a startable flex player this year in fantasy football. It's like it's just going overlooked. So he's had 11 points, 12 points, 8 points, 13 points, keeping an 11-point average, having 8 targets a game with touchdown upside. This is what you want. You get the Washington Commanders this week. The Washington Commanders, guys, rank 32nd versus the pass, giving up 46.1 points per game to the wide receiver position. They rank dead last in the red zone, giving up 14.1. They average 175.8 yards per game alone to the wide receiver position. This is why I'm so high on Deshaun Watson. This is why I'm so high on Amari Cooper. This is why I'm so high on Jerry Jeudy this week. This Commanders defense can't stop anybody. And they even got these numbers boosted last week with the Cardinals' weird game that happened. So when I'm reading these numbers of dead last, they were even worse before that playing against the Cardinals. And they held them to 14 points, and the defense showed up. I don't see that happening twice here. I think that was just one of those weird Kyler Murray games that you can't explain. Now, heading to the Commander side, it's only Scary Terry, and it's only Scary Terry F1 McLaurin only because the rest of these wide receivers don't do anything. It's either Zach Ertz, or it's Terry McLaurin, or it's JD5 running, or it's Brian Robinson and Eckler catching it, and no one else really seems to be a factor. And you get the Browns defense. Cleveland's Browns defense their strength is their run. Right now, they rank 17th versus the wide receiver position, giving up 32.6 points per game. But here's where it's even better. In the red zone, they're very, very bad versus the wide receiver, giving up 8.8, ranking 26th. They still only give up 125 yards to the wide receiver position weekly basis. That's more of a top 15 tier there. But the connection with JD5 is growing. They're 3-1. The confidence is riding high. They're at home. I like Terry McLaurin to smash here again this week. And honestly, he was one of my huge buy lows. I hope you did because now you're seeing it come to fruition, and it looks nasty, man. But I still like Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy a ton because the Commander defense is very bad. Monday Night Football, the Saints are coming marching into Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are down Rashee Rice, man. So, I don't know. We're going to talk about them first here. It looked like his season was over. A torn ACL was the update that they feared. And all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes is like, well, hold on a minute here. He may not be hurt for that long. I'm not buying any of that. He went off in a cart with his hand over his head. I think it's just social media. I think he's going to be gone for the season at this point. Now, Hollywood Brown also out for the year. I could throw up Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson. I don't feel like doing that. I don't even want to put them in my starting lineup if that's where I'm at. Then my team is very, very beat up, or I'm playing like a 32-man league. Now, Xavier Worthy. I'm going to put up Rashid Shaheed here with it because these are boom or bust players right now. When you're looking at the volume that they get, like even when, Rashee Rice went out early in the game, he still doesn't see a lot of volume. Last week, though, Rashid Shaheed saw 11 targets, which is absolutely crazy to me. That was the highest of his career. He's seen 5, 4, and 5 before that. But Atlanta, like I said, this is what I was talking about with Mike Evans in this game Thursday, why Chris Godwin's going to eat so much, because Terrell locks up your X. Or your number one, I put it in regular terms. And that's what happened here in the game. So now you get the Chiefs defense. It's not the same way here. If you want to start the boomer bust guys, go ahead. It's not something I ever recommend, but when they pop, they pop. When they miss, they miss. But I like to sell them as soon as they pop. Or if they pop twice, then the sell is even more. Now, Chris Olave going to be a start for me no matter what here. You get the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They rank 11th versus the pass, giving up 28.8 points. But in the red zone, they rank 28th. They gave up 9.2, 113 yards on the season. So big chance for a Chris Olave red zone touchdown in this game. A.T. Perry, nothing to talk about here. Chiefs side going up against the Saints. The New Orleans Saints defense ranks 12th, giving up 31.1 points to the wide receiver. Number 1 in the red zone, giving up -1, 163.5 yards a game. So, it's just going to be rough, though. I think it's going to be all Travis Kelce, man. They can even bracket him. But Xavier Worthy still hasn't even seen enough volume for me to be happy to start him. So I know that you got all these wide receivers out and it looks great, but he's never seen over 4 targets in a game. So when you get those 20-point booms like week 1 and week 4, those are just home run hits, right? Very, very scary to play in fantasy football with, because but without that, he gets 4 points a game. So again, if you like to play the boomer bust, your choice to take. I'm not against it, but I don't love it. The Packers are headed into the 1-3 Los Angeles Rams this week, guys. And man, it's just been a shit show for Matt Stafford without his studs out there. I feel so bad for the guy. But we're going to talk about the Packers first here. And the steal of the fantasy football draft was Jaden Reed, guys. He has now played back-to-back games with Jordan Love healthy, 2 games only, and is averaging 30 fantasy points a game. He looks like an absolute stud. This is why he was my number 1 buy low as soon as Jordan Love went down. I hope you guys listen to that. Now, Christian Watson's side looks like the ankle injury is going to keep him out. Not IR stint was the update today. So 2 to 3 games, possibly, or 1 to 2 games here. He's always hurt. I've been waiting to get this guy on the field all year. Dontavian Wicks, guys. This guy is the guy I've been pumping up forever. He saw 13 targets last week. You could say smash start here. I'm going to keep it in yellow, but I love it as a flex play start. But I still think Jaden Reed's just going to be the focal point. He's the nose for the end zone. The guy's absolutely phenomenal. And you get the LA Rams defense, guys. The LA Rams defense ranks 23rd versus the pass, 35.9 points allowed, 21st in the red zone, 7.1 allowed there as well, and 150 yards a game to the wide receiver position. All systems look green here. Jordan Love back healthy. You can smash Jaden Reed as your wide receiver 1 start, and you could put Dontavian Wicks as a flex play easy this week. Now, the Rams side, I don't even know who to call out here as my dog's going nuts. We need Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back. It looks like Kupp will be back after the bye. Puka looks probably like week 8, week 9. And if I was going to put any names up there, it'd be Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, or Jordan Whittington. It's all just a shot in the dark. And the Green Bay secondary is actually not that great, not that bad versus the pass. They're kind of middle of the tier. It says they rank 26, but those numbers are skewed because they played without their quarterback for 2 weeks. So they got beat up on both sides of the football. So when I see them ranked 26, I don't really buy that. 25th in the red zone, I don't buy that. Their defense is number 1 in takeaways, and they also give up 160 yards to the wide receiver position. But if you look at last week with the Vikings, you got Jordan Addison going nuts. You got, Justin Jefferson's going to go off on everybody no matter what. But it's still not going to happen for the Rams passing game. There's just nothing going on here. There's no one open. You can throw a Tutu Atwell bomb. You can find Demarcus Robinson. You can find Whittington across. It's just, you need your studs back out there. It's Kyren Williams versus the world right now, and I feel really bad for Matt Stafford. And if I had to take a dart throw, like I said, in yellow, I'd take a dart throw on Demarcus Robinson, but I don't love it in any single way, shape, or form for any of the Rams wide receivers. That is it for episode 80, guys. Thanks for rocking with me today. That was my wide receiver stardom, sit him every single game for week 5, except for the teams on a bye. So make sure those guys are out of your lineup this week. Make sure you guys smash that like, smash that subscription, turn that bell on. All the support is greatly appreciated. Helps me out more than you know. I will be live Thursday and Friday, guys, going over starts, sits, trades. Got a couple shows with a couple other content creators. We're going to be going over pick'ems we like, slips as well, talking each game, spreads. So if you guys are into that, make sure you hop into the stream. And if you can't make the stream and you have any fantasy football questions, it does not have to pertain to this video. Make sure you drop it in the comments. I try to get to them all, guys. And I got my quarterback, running back, now wide receiver. All I have left is my tight end, start him, sit him. All my rankings are out as well, guys. If you want to check those, I try to get you everything by Thursday to help you win your weekly matchups before the kickoff and get you that ultimate goal of a championship, guys. And that's it for me. I'll catch you in the next video, man. SleezBall out.